kick off.
Sorry.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
All right. So unfortunately, we don't have our PowerPoint presentation up, but I'll go ahead and dive into it a little bit anyway. It's mostly knowledge that I can just share, and you don't necessarily have to see specifically.
Are we working on getting that up? Or?
Yes, I think he went running for a device that will get that up for us hopefully very soon. But as the chief said, a couple of years ago, back in 2021, we had 45 burglaries. Since that time, we've reduced it down. Last year, we were at 16, and this year we're at 17, getting close to the end of the year. So
we are trying to keep it under 20.
Trying to keep it under 20, yeah. Trends that we see in the type of burglaries around here, more often than not, are usually window smashes. One of the reasons behind that specifically is often alarm systems are set up so that doors or windows or major portions of the house are actually wired to feel if they actually open the way they're supposed to, not necessarily a window smash or any electronic device that's attached to the windows themselves. So criminals know this, and they'll look for windows that are nearby areas that you may, more often than not, keep valuables close by. So they will look for those windows, smash a window. Oftentimes they'll go in and out the same exact direction to minimize the chance of any set off of alarms by walking out the door. So not only are they not being detected on the way in, they're not being detected necessarily on the way out, and nobody is the wiser for potentially days on end if somebody's away. We see a lot of second floor for those who have two-story houses. A lot of times it'll be a second floor window smash as well. Mainly we'll see them focus towards master bedrooms. And the reasoning behind that is those who do have motion sensors in their houses, the one place most people would not want to keep a motion sensor or security camera for obvious reasons would be in a master bedroom or master bedroom closet. And therefore they'll go right there. They'll find oftentimes jewelry, things that you don't want to be kept in a place that's far away from where you're actually getting ready or putting this type of clothing on. So, here we go. Let me just jump one ahead. There we go. Okay, so here's where I'm at. Everybody can see that. Okay, great. So like I was saying, master bedrooms are one of the primary focuses for these experienced crews. They know where the most valuables are going to be kept and their least likelihood of getting caught by getting in and out of the master bedroom only. We've actually had numerous burglaries where they didn't even go outside anywhere else in the house. They just went into the master bedroom, made their way through, got into the closet, potentially found a safe, pulled it out through the same direction they came in, exited, down, tossed it to a buddy or onto the grass, and were able to get away. Other reasons that these sometimes go undetected are the house or residence has an alarm, but for whatever reason, it may have been off. Sometimes people find that it can be a bit of an inconvenience when, I have a dog or my children are younger and, they wake up in the middle of the night to set the alarm off and, we're going to be calling you if we're getting a phone call or the security company is getting a notification, we'll be calling and checking to see if everything's okay or potentially knocking on your door and finding out in the middle of the night what's going on. So another big
house. So it doesn't obscure vision. I mean, it's just clear, but it's something that, and it's usually professionally applied, but if you Google that, you'll see it.
And defend. So this is our job. Things that you can do to plan ahead for us now coming is a defensible space within your home. And that could be simply a closet in a bedroom in the master room or somewhere near the bedrooms themselves, where you can deadbolt the lock from the inside or have some sort of a flip latch lock on the top, and have a phone potentially wired inside or an extra phone, or bring a phone with you into that. One of the things that we always recommend is having your phone nearby you, obviously when you sleep. And if something out of the ordinary does happen, you just grab that immediately, and wherever you end up going or walking to see what's going on or what you heard, you have that line of communication with you. Yes.
So, you see actual robberies where you could be in a safe spot when people come in, or this is just a way to manage it if you hear something?
Yeah, most of the time, the burglaries that we see, these criminals aren't interested in anything but the property. They would prefer you not be home. However, we don't want to take that chance, obviously. So we're trying to think of any way possible to keep everyone as safe as possible. But the trend these days, more often than not, especially in affluent areas, is they're interested in the most valuable property that's on the house, and hopefully nobody is inside the house that they're breaking into.
But a safe room is a good idea if there is an intrusion. I don't know that since I've been here, we've had a home invasion. We have had transients just enter homes, drifting in, taking showers. Again, doors unlocked. I mean, the doors need to be locked because you just never know. But having that safe room is a good idea. Also, the point made, which is a good point. We often get asked, has anyone been attacked by burglars or anything else? And just like the detective sergeant said, they want nothing to do with you. We've had a couple instances where they've come in to the bedroom, lady is sleeping, scream, they're gone. So we've been very fortunate, and it isn't just here. That's typically the MO. They don't want to deal with anything, firearms, etc. I mean, they just don't want it.
Exactly.
No, they're actually not taking firearms. They're usually not armed either that we know of, but no, they've left firearms. They just want the valuables that they can fence.
So here's some things that we wrote down that we believe that you guys can do, and that is to lock your doors and windows. Kind of some of these things I'll have hit on already. Use the alarm system, not just having an alarm system, but actually utilizing it in its full capacity. Install a camera system, preferably one that is linked to that security system. Notify us if you go on vacation. We have a program where we will go out, check your house, see if anything's going on that's unusual, and if it is, we'll act on it.
And we actually do go out. Even myself, I've been called and said, I saw you on my camera. We do go out day and night. And then when we're around too, and he's probably going to mention it, if we see newspapers or packages, we huck it over the gate or the wall. But yeah, take advantage of that, because we do come out, and it's a great way for us to get out into other parts of the community that maybe is off the beaten path a little bit. But yeah, day and night we're checking those.
Hit on this earlier, exterior and interior lights on during hours of darkness. If you guys are able to keep the lights on, especially in the yard, at all times in the night, that is very, very big. Installing motion lights also around the exterior home is a big benefit as well. I mentioned before, becoming friendly with your neighbors, and giving contact information out. Chief mentioned this, having your mail, newspapers, stopping the mail, so on and so forth, or having a neighbor potentially collect it for you. And not advertising your travel plans on social media. I talked to my family about that one.
Can I talk about lights for a minute?
Oh yeah, please.
So if you don't have it, you should really look into it. We have a home that we keep up in Seattle, but they're lights that you can turn off and on by your phone. So they're smart plugs. We have them at our home here. Even out of the country, you can turn them on and off, and it's a great way to go. It's not very expensive. You can get them on Amazon. So take a look at that too, because it's another great way. And if you have a radio or something plugged into that smart plug, then the radio will come on, or you can have the TV come on as well. And I know we're throwing a lot of stuff at you, but we want you to outsmart these burglars, and we want you to be our team member, our left and right arms to stop that. So I know we're throwing a lot of stuff out, but hopefully you grab one or two things and help us out.
I think that's all I got. Can hand it over.
All right, good evening, everyone. So first of all, thank you all for coming. This shows a great effort of Sorry, working through some technical difficulties. This keeps losing connection and then it's dropping the audio for everyone that's on Zoom. So next we'll move into our ALPR cameras, which are automated license plate readers. And we are lucky enough that we partner with our community with this, and we have 47 ALPR readers throughout the town of Atherton. And 26 of those cameras are resident funded. So the support from the community on this project has been overwhelming. And this project has been a very good success. And what we have done is we've strategically placed these cameras throughout the town to give us really a good safety net, a good safety blanket for anything that is coming in or out of town to help investigations get good investigative leads to investigate a lot of crimes. And so there's also some misconceptions that we find out about the ALPR cameras. And one of them is that it's a live camera and we're tapping into it, we're watching everything. Absolutely not true. So what these are is they are motion activated cameras and they take photographs. They only take pictures. There is no live feed coming from these cameras. No live feed where you're looking and watching all of these cameras take these pictures as they're actually occurring. And what happens is we will get alerts through this system. So if someone comes through and it's a missing person or a vehicle associated with a missing person, it will give us an alert for that car. If it's a stolen vehicle, it will give us an alert to that car. If it's a wanted person, it will give us an alert to that car. And then we're starting to dispatch the officers. And what that does is that really helps us mitigate crimes within our town before they ever occur. And so if we're getting these notifications, if someone's driving through town and they have a stolen vehicle, they're probably not here to do us any good. They're not here to help us out. They're here to commit other crimes. So once we get those alerts, it gives us where they are. If it goes to different cameras, it gives us those locations, and we're able to start sending the officers out to try to stop that vehicle before they do commit any further crimes within the town of Atherton. And what the camera captures is it will, depending on the angle of the camera, it's made to get the front of the vehicle or the back of the vehicle. So it's only picking up the very front or the back. It's made to get the license plate, if there is one, or if it is the actual license plate on the car. It gets the color of the car, the make of the car, sometimes the model, depending on how much of the photograph we get. But if it picks up anything like a ski rack or a bicycle on the car or a sticker on the car, using that software, we can actually go into it and search for, I'm looking for a black Chevrolet with a bumper sticker on the back. We can actually use that as a feature without ever having that license plate. And that's one of the great things about this system is it helps us out and goes with the drone use. If we can get the drone on scene and say it even picks up a car driving away from the area, and we could just get okay, that looks like a Ford SUV. We can go into that ALPR system, find the closest camera, run that camera to see if there's any matches for that vehicle, and then potentially get that license plate, which would then give us an investigative lead to potentially solve that crime. So this has been a huge success. The retention period on all of the data that it collects is a rolling 30-day period. And so after that 30 days, that data is gone. So it's only collecting the data for another 30 days, which is another fail-safe in terms of people's privacy. It's only collecting for that 30 days and then it's being deleted. And that's a rolling 30-day period. And then just to give you a glimpse of how often these are going off is in 2022, which was last year. We haven't done our 2023 study yet. We had 252 ALPR alerts just within the town of Atherton. And that was for stolen vehicles, Amber alerts, wanted persons, or subjects that were under investigation. And those are all things that we're able to dispatch officers to get them there on scene and hopefully mitigate any kind of crimes that occur within the town.
There's a hit, do they get notified immediately?
Yes, so our dispatch center gets notified immediately. They have the software up and running. It's not looking at any kind of camera feeds. It would just be a message of this camera got this notification. Here's the description of the vehicle and the license plate. And then what we do from there is we actually start running those license plates just to make sure that it's not a misread, because there can be errors in the cameras where it thinks it's a I because of the way the license plate frame is, and it's actually a T. So we dispatch the officers, then we verify it is what we have. So, and then if it is a good read, the officers will continue. If it's a bad read, we immediately cancel them. And then the officers also have the ability where they could log in on a phone or their in-car computer, and they can get the alerts and the feeds directly to them as well.
I can share a success story, but we're really proud of this program. We were the first agency in the state to get flock cameras. Now they're all over the state and up and down the peninsula. The beauty of that is if something happens, and it's happened before, like a armed robbery in San Bruno, and they've got the plate and they plug it into flock. So it's almost like a ping pong ball. You can follow that suspect. And so agencies can conform on it. A success story that's really illustrative of how important these cameras are. And I can't make this up. I had a resident was driving home on 101, had a really nice Rolex watch. Well, a couple gang members roll up, see the watch on the wrist. This is their mentality. They go, we want that watch. And so they followed him off of 101. They took the Marsh Road. They came down the middle field and went to his residence. So he's getting out. They're rolling in and they're armed. And so they strong arm robbery. They want the watch. He's fighting. And I really like to think that my wife and my daughters would do this too. Wife comes out of the house, adult daughters, and the fight is on. And that's when the partner got out of the car with the gun, fired, actually injured the wife, minor flesh wound. Did they get the watch or not? I don't think they did. But took off. So big serious crime, attempted murder, everything else. We, at that point, had nothing other than description of the two suspects, car, no plate. The detectives and the officers got right on it, got into the flock system, saw our resident and the victim, followed them through the cameras with the license plate, worked with authorities up in San Francisco. Within 2 hours, we had them identified and one under arrest. The other one was later identified. I think one recent conviction for attempted murder. I forget what the other ones were that. But without that camera, we wouldn't have had anything. So it's extremely valuable. I also too, if you've seen them around town, there's signs on them. It's no secret. We want people to know, and it's been a deterrent because we don't want them here. We want them to go. You know, I hate to say it, we're pushing them somewhere else. But my responsibility is to you. Our responsibility is to you, and so we're doing everything that we can. Have them go somewhere.
And then moving on to our next topic, which is our body-worn cameras. In Atherton Police Department was actually the first in, I believe, San Mateo County to obtain and use body-worn cameras. We have had them for probably going on 15 plus years now at this point. We were kind of the pioneers when that started. Earlier this year, we moved into our newest camera, which is our Axon Body 3. And that's the newest, latest, and greatest. Some of the new features of that is it has live streaming. So if the officers are out and for whatever reason, the supervisor is unable to get out to the officers, the sergeants are able to actually live stream into that body cam and see what is happening at that scene before they get there. So that is a huge feature and a very good thing for us. It has a LTE connection, and with that comes GPS. So the officers they also have GPS connected device that's on their body. So if something were to happen, they need help, we know exactly where they are, which is very good for us in terms of officer safety. We know exactly where the officers are in the field at all times, which is wonderful. It has auto transcription now. So anytime that the officers are going out and they're taking reports and they're taking statements, once they get back to the station, they can actually have that statement transcribed for them using the software, which is a huge cost saving in terms of time. It gets the officers, they're back at the station, they're able to complete their reports at an expedited process, and they're back out in the field doing their work to keep the community safe. Another great feature is auto downloads. Our old body cameras, we would have to plug them in at the end of the shift. Or if you did have an incident and you need to download your video to then send to the district attorney's office with your report, it sometimes took up to 2 hours, depending on how big that video file was. With the new body cameras, as soon as they get back and they hit any kind of Wi-Fi, it starts automatically downloading to our servers, which is also saving the officers time. And it also allows them to where they're able to just continue wearing their body cameras. And if something happens and they have to run out, it just stops the download and then resumes when they come back. So we don't have to worry about putting them in the dock, having that emergency call, and then the officers are running out forgetting their body cameras. They're able to keep it on them at all times. And so if they do get that call, they're able to just run out and not have to worry about remembering to grab their body camera. And then one of the greatest things that came with the new ones is the auto activation. And so what that is all of the holsters with our firearms have something called a signal sidearm. And so if the officer were to pull their firearm out of their holster, it automatically activates their camera. If they turn on their emergency lights in their car, it automatically activates their camera. If they pull out their taser, it automatically activates their taser. And so what that's really helping us do is a lot of times if it's an emergency, high adrenaline situation, you're not thinking about, oh, I need to tap my camera twice to turn it on. I'm thinking I need to go in there and help that person, or I need to go, help my fellow officer. You're not thinking about turning on your camera. So with these auto activations, it's taking that error out of it where they're already coming on. They're coming on automatically. And to further making sure we capture all those videos, the camera that is activated will then activate all of the officers around them within, I believe it's a 50-foot radius. And then that continues. So any officers that come on scene, their cameras are automatically activated as well. So it's taking a lot of the error out of, oh, I have to turn on my camera, and it's just occurring and they're rolling and they're recording, which has been a great tool for us. And then Chief, I will turn it back over to you to talk about our community groups.
Yeah. We talked about our community engagement. And again, we're very fortunate that we have residents that are super, super supportive of the police department. When the George Floyd thing happened tragically, we had an outpouring of our residents coming out for support. So that was great. And so like tonight, we try to do as much community outreach as we can to ensure that have a good relationship, transparency is there, and you have trust in us, because without that, we're not going to exist. So 2 examples of more backup that we have is our ADAPT group, Atherton Disaster and Preparedness Team. We have a couple members here in the room today. They've been around for a long time. We're up to about 40 members. And what their message is to get ready. First and foremost, they are officially part of the police department. They're in our org chart. So the core group has special training for response. An example with the storms, this is the commander's brainstorm, as we activated ADAPT, and the word went out, and within an hour we had 22 adapters here ready to go, and we sent them out into the streets. They wanted guns. I said no. We sent them out into the streets, and they were making sure that they were clearing the drains and doing the things and reporting, and it was great. President Biden recently visited, and again, the commander's brainstorm is we need more help. And they're trained in traffic control, so they got their vests on. I think we had about 10 or 15. It was kind of cool too, so they got to see the motorcade, but they actually had a function, and so they're for us when we need it. They meet on the first Saturday of every month. They're meeting this Saturday from 9 to 10:30. It's always a good time to come out, have donuts and coffee on us, learn right here in this room, and learn something. Again, their main message, and if you get on their website, about emergency preparedness, and we just ended our series of Party in a Box that we talk about. I think 150 people we talked to around the community, and we're going to continue that. And what we want people to do, and I hate to say this, but I hopefully get your attention. When something big happens, when we back up a little bit further, our scheduling. So on a night shift on a weekend, we have 3 officers. During the week, we probably have 8, 9, or 10. That includes myself. I actually am a police officer and I can do stuff. But it doesn't go very far when something big happens. And we're in an instant now service society. I mean, you got Grubhub, you got this, you got that. So you pick up the phone when something happens and call 911. As much as I hate to say it, we're not going to be able to come. We're going to be trying to figure out what's going on. I'm going to be trying to get people in. Most of my officers live Tracy, Lathrop. Imagine them trying to get in. So we're going to be kind of on our own for a while. Normally, we have great backup. And I know my fellow chiefs and the highway patrol commander, and normally we have backup all the time. They're going to be struggling. So we can't call for them. So we're relying on you. And it used to be 3 days, 3 ways. I mean, you need to be prepared to be on your own, probably for 5 days, 7 days. I'm pretty confident the way the housing, don't hold me to this, unless it's a direct hit, but your frame is probably still going to be okay. You probably have some place to go, but you're probably not going to have electricity. You're not going to have water. You're not going to have gas. And so you got to have that stuff. And if you see the footage of typhoons hitting Florida, the blank shelves in Walmart and everything else, that is not the time to try to go get something, because you're probably going to find yourself in the middle of a civil unrest disturbance. You need to have it prepared and ready. ready. So I do invite you to come to a meeting. You're welcome to join the group. We try to keep it as interesting as possible, but they're great backup for us, then also for you. Is there a slide about RVP? There you go. So, gosh, was it a year and a half, 2 years ago? I stole this idea from a sheriff's office, actually the Shasta County Sheriff's Office, Citizen Patrol. And so a resident volunteer patrol. And what struck me is because I know our residents are hypervigilant. And if you've heard this story, I apologize. But when I first got here, I didn't have a uniform. My car's unmarked. And I wanted to learn the neighborhood and drive around. So my dispatcher says, they're kind of cute. Where are you going now? And I said, I'm just going to go out and drive around and probably meet some people. And they said, well, you know, you're going to get called in. I go, no, I don't think so. So I went to Lindenwood because they said you're going to get lost in there. And of course I did. And I'm driving around slow because all these cool houses. About 30 minutes into my drive, the dispatcher called. She's laughing. She says, you've been reported twice. Bald white guy in a white car driving slow. Mailman called me in and a resident called me in. I love that story because then that ties me into resident volunteer patrol. We have one in the back. I apologize, I forget your name. Elena, thank you. Oh, there you go. So what I love about this program, we're up to about 40, and that's because of Sergeant John Fong doing some strong arm recruiting. But it's great because you're out walking anyway, right? And we give you some training. We give you a fancy vest. Again, a deterrent. People are going to drive around and see, and what is that? And so when they go out and they're armed with their cell phone, I think they wanted guns too, but I say you get a cell phone. We give them training about what to call and what not, because they know what doesn't fit. You guys know what doesn't fit. And they have called in some good stuff. And so if you're interested in that, and plus you get some exercise, you get the fancy vest. We feed you. We're going to have an annual party here this month to thank our volunteers. But it's a great program. And again, one more thing, as a deterrent, people driving around, stay out of our town. So anything else? Before we go to that, kind of on the lines of our technology, you probably heard a lot in the news about deconfliction with law enforcement and kind of comment. What's the term? Missing the term.
Yes.
De-escalation. I will be honest, probably when I first started, there wasn't a lot of de-escalation because we're the police and we're going to get it done, right? Well, people get hurt when you're doing that stuff. So we do have a lot of training for de-escalation and a lot of tools at our disposal. If you're going to get your voice and you got your hands, but you don't want to try to touch people, people are going to get hurt. So we do have our tasers. We have a new device that's kind of like Spider-Man. I wish we had a demo. We're going to do an open house in the spring and we'll demo. I let the guys shoot me. They like it. But it's a device and it actually has a pistol round in it. And so it shoots and it's loud and it actually shoots out basically like a spider web, and it's got barbs and it can wrap your feet and wrap your hands. So guess what? We can move in and do it. It's not for every situation, but if you have somebody you just don't want to go hands-on, it works. And we have a success story. We've used it once. A person was having a mental crisis. Parents couldn't control him. And so our officers get there and they realize. And so he was able to deploy, what's it called? I forget. Bullet rat. He was able to deploy it. Like I said, it sounds like a gunshot. Now mom started crying. They thought we had shot her son, but actually it wrapped him and then we were able to take him into custody. So that was good. We have what they call a 40 millimeter launcher that can deploy chemical munitions and others, but we use it for a sponge round or a blue round that's designed to be, I hate to say it's less lethal because it could be lethal if it's deployed wrong. But again, it's designed at a distance. Someone's got a knife and they're not complying. It shoots them in the stomach, incapacitates them, and then we can take them into custody. So that's another tool that we have for de-escalation. But one of the most important tools we have is our head and our mouth and our training, and also our backup to not get into that situation. So we do everything we can to not have to use force or take somebody's life. Ultimately, if we need to, we have to do it, unfortunately. But I want to make sure that the officers have, from pepper spray to they have every tool that they need to try not to do that. But at the end of the day, you know, they may have to do it, and we're trained for that as well. So I'm going to stop talking. They're going to stop talking, and I'll stop interrupting them. But we would love your questions and answers. And because we're on Zoom, I don't know how many people are left. The mic is live back there. I do need you to go back to the mic and ask your questions, but, because I know you had one earlier, but if you do have questions, anything's fair game. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Nelson. I asked this question about 3 years ago when I first moved here. It's great that you guys offer the monitoring the alarm, but a lot of the newer alarm nowadays, even professionally installed alarm, they allow apps to be controlled so the homeowner can activate and deactivate and monitor. And then also, in addition to that, be able to have a centralized stations. But 3 years ago, when I was talking to you about it, the technology that you guys have to set up was not allowed. I know you guys are, as you showcase a lot of newer technology. Have you guys been able to update
There's
that?
two solutions, and so we haven't received it yet for some reason, but an IP transceiver to receive it, so you can
Mhm.
connect with IP. There's also a cellular solution. Again, the alarm companies will tell you it's not possible, but there is a cellular technology that can allow connection to, and our dispatch officers, if you call them, has that information.
Right. Yeah. Actually, my alarm does have the cellular, but also it's a control through app. So I have a centralized monitoring that I pay monthly. I would rather have you guys do it, monitor for.
Well, and an option two, and again, they'll tell you they can't do it, but they can, because it's a business. I'm not knocking them at all.
Yeah.
But some people have both connected. So you can have the options that you have on your phone, but you still get the direct connect to us so we can get
Right. That's
out
what
there.
I want, actually.
Right.
Yeah.
Those options are available.
Okay. That's great.
Yeah, thank you for that question.
Hi, my name is Chris Teppen. I live on Fairview. And first of all, I want to thank you, officers and chief, for having this meeting. Well, we learned a lot and really neat technology that you guys have now employing. So it's all to our benefit. I want to change the subject just a little bit and talk about traffic. As you know, Fairview tends to be a cut-through street for Alameda. And there was a traffic study done 2 or 3 years ago, and nothing really appears to have been done with regard to that traffic study. There should be a light moved to the corner of Camino Al Lago and Alameda. It's down 300 feet down the street. And there should be a light at, as much as I hate traffic lights, but at Alameda and Atherton Avenue. My wife and I were walking yesterday. The traffic on Atherton Avenue at 4:30 was backed up all the way down to Monte Vista. And when that happens, people cut through on Fairview. And it makes it, kind of tough to live there with all the traffic going by. One last thing is there was a public works official out maybe a year ago, said they were going to put speed bumps on the street. Haven't seen anything. So
Yeah, I
don't
can
know.
comment on that. And good question, by the way. Thank you. Traffic is one of the number one complaints that we get. With a lot of people don't know that we have 9 schools in town with 8,000 to 9,000 students every day, about 3,000 or 4,000 staff. So you can imagine what that's happening in the morning and the evenings, but traffic is one of our number one complaints. I don't know of anything in progress for traffic light at Atherton and Alameda. I do know there's something in the works to move that crosswalk signal, which has always been strange to me, to move it to Camino Al Lago, and that's working with a couple of jurisdictions, so that's there. We have deployed the speed humps, and I'm glad you brought that up. In 2 areas of town. I know that Fairview and Linda Vista or Monte Vista is next on the list to install them. And we're getting some feedback. I will be honest with you, the biggest critique we have with the speed humps, they do work, the noise related, the neighbors, I think they're getting used to it, but the noise and trucks and tools going over and back. So it is Glenwood. Yes, thank you. Yes. Yeah. Okay.
We had a proposal that we put for Congress 2 years ago. It was adopted.
You might have to go that so people can hear you with Zoom. Sorry.
So Atherton made a proposal to Anna Eshoo that was put before Congress 2 years ago and adopted to do a significant traffic upgrade on Alameda, which will include a street light at Alameda and Atherton Avenue. And I don't know what the time, that's due to be done. So that's been approved. The money has been funded. I'm not exactly sure what the timing is on the work, but there's going to be a street light at Atherton Avenue and Alameda. That decision's been done. There's also a pedestrian light like you've seen put on El Camino at Isabella, Alejandra and Almondral. It's a hawk beacon, but I think at Stockbridge, it's not a hawk beacon. It's just a flashing pedestrian light that can be initiated by a pedestrian. And a crosswalk is being put at Stockbridge and Alameda. And on Fairview, we have a neighborhood traffic control plan, and it was approved to put speed bumps on several streets. Fairview is absolutely one of them that was approved. I don't know what the timing is, but it's overdue. And the first step is to put in temporary speed bumps so that you get to hear the noise as the cars go over them and decide if it's something you want to support to go in permanently. And they're on a couple other streets. They're on Glenwood and Linda Vista, I think, but I'm not sure if they've been put into Linda Vista. So it's definitely going into Fairview. That's a known problem for exactly what you identify. Afternoon traffic when it gets backed up on Alameda. Hopefully the stoplight will work with that. And the stoplight isn't going to be just a standard stoplight. It'll be sensitive to the timing. It'll be programmed to the timing of the day. So it'll move people through that light quickly during the rush hour periods when there's a huge backup. And there is a concern about that light, which is if the backup got big enough, it would go all the way north to Los Lomitas School, which could be a problem. So it's going to be designed to enable that traffic to flow at those times quickly.
Hi, David Jones. I have a non-traffic request, and that is, could you post on the town website your PowerPoint?
It's being recorded and it will be posted.
Well, not this meeting, but the
Oh, the
PowerPoint
PowerPoint
itself,
too, yes,
because that's the condensed information.
yes. And on our website too is also crime prevention information is there. Oh, thank you, Jan. That's very important. So, and this is related, thank you. So this is related to emergencies. Biggest criticism, wildfire, everything else when it's all done. Criticism of emergency responders is lack of communication. We didn't know, nobody told us. So there's two different ways you get information from us. We have a news flash, and you get on our website and sign up. You can get public work information, police department information. That's how we push things out. We also push it out on social media. We have a person, management analyst that she works with us and pushes things out that way. And also from the county, SMC alert, but you got to sign up for it. So none of it works. I mean, believe me, I wish I could make everybody sign up magically, but none of it works unless you sign up. But it's very important, especially when something does happen and things are going on and we're trying to get information out. That's how we let everybody know what's going on.
It was particularly helpful during the winter when we were having trees falling over roads.
Right.
And you guys were on top of it, and we would get these emails, and we go, okay, don't go down that road right now.
Yeah, and again, it doesn't, but if you get it, and then we hope that then people spread the message through their contacts and connections.
How can I get it? By contacting them.
Well, you can get on the website and actually sign up yourself. Yeah, and the same with SMC alert. I would highly recommend you sign up for both of those. So in the event of something, you'll be told what's going on. And also too, did you get that emergency alert that went across the country on your phone and woke everybody up? The county has that technology too. It's used very sparingly, but they can force information out to your phone in the event of a real emergency. Then we also have Zone Haven, which is called something else, but Zone Haven, and you can sign up for Zone Haven. Zone Haven was designed by firefighters for wildfires, but it also works for evacuation and everything else. And you can follow on Zone Haven what's happening in your area. It will show evacuation routes. It'll update you and say, if you're in this area, you should leave now. So that's another critical issue. But again, none of it works unless you sign up. Yes, Mary Lou.
I just have a quick request. I'm one of the Yellow Jackets, but I also drive my granddaughters at night. And initially we gave out some yellow vests and then I went and bought 20 more. If you walk at night, buy a reflective vest. You walk your dogs, you can't see anything. You really can't. And I give them out, but 3 people refuse them. Interesting. So I'm just saying, if you're out there, be safe.
I can't imagine they refused you, Mary Lou. Mary Lou's one of our adapters and one of our RVPers, so thank you.
Thank you.
Park. A couple security questions.
Sure.
Is there any recommendations in the alarm companies themselves that you say, hey, this works really friendly with Atherton?
Yeah, we really can't.
Can't allow.
No, it's hard not to recommend, but you know, usually word of mouth or what other neighbors have.
And then I have cameras on everything exterior, but do you feel that interior cameras are important or not?
I think it depends. I have external cameras. You know, if you have internal cameras, you know, they're in and you can watch it. It's really up to you. I think a lot of people have both and some just have external.
And then the property, we're talking about the smart properties, you know, sat through these before, and I always try and pay attention to that and follow your suit. But walls and fencing around the property or not? So it's kind of like they get on the other side and then they feel that they're like free
Yeah.
out of
Well,
sight or inside.
the advice is I've always wanted a gate. I'll probably get one, hopefully someday. But my advice is, you know, if you have the gate, I would keep it shut so they can't see in there, and it's one more deterrent. Same with garage doors.
Yeah.
It's very common, unfortunately. Garage doors are left open, bikes are there, they walk in, gates open or not, and then they grab the bike and they go. And it's not to make you feel like you're a prisoner in your own home, but it's just taking some common sense steps to protect yourself.
I agree.
And layers of, you know, access points. So whatever slows them down, they're always interested in making the quickest entry and quickest exit possible. So to go off of the fence bit, that it's one more thing they have to jump over or get through somehow. It's, you know, something that they may get caught up on, drop whatever they're trying to carry over. It's just one more barrier that's in their way as they get in or out.
Big goal, I talk a lot. I am catching a very bad dog. The inside is hiding. And so it wasn't fun to you, but it was that was when he was free to hide behind on the outside of the street people.
Yeah, if it isn't one thing, it's another.
Sure.
But bike thefts is probably one of the more common thefts that we have. And another piece of technology that we have that we didn't mention is we have bicycles that has a GPS device that's hidden on the bike. As soon as the bike is moved, dispatch is alerted, officers respond, and of course it's GPS. Then we're tracking that device. And so we've made several arrests, particularly from the high school. We haven't got there yet. We're also working on maybe some fake packages as we get into the holidays and then track folks that way as well. Put a purse over your neck. Yeah.
Hello, everyone. My name is Hope. I'm new here. I moved from San Diego, and the house I purchased had a burglary about 4 years ago. So that's why I'm really concerned about safety here. And I have 2 questions. First, is that okay if I put a camera just record the person who's trying to push the button on the gate?
Mm-hmm.
Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. That's one question. Second question is that possible? There's a mini device, just like a bracelet, and so with a button. will get alert immediately, and then you will send.
You have
someone.
that set up now?
No, I'm thinking.
You're thinking about-
It should be a very easy technology.
Yeah,
So.
I'm not sure how we would connect, because I'm not familiar with the technology.
It should be, I mean, should be very, very feasible, but I'm just wondering, is there a existing one, or if there's no existing one, I may want to introduce this.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Yeah,
I really need it.
I don't know, and I understand the immediacy, but you know, your cell phone is pretty close. It's right on you, and you can call 911 immediately. And through 911 technology, we know where that call is coming from within a few feet.
Yeah, but the
from your
cell
cell
phone is so heavy, not convenient, and the bad people can just grab it, and then I mean, it's a bracelet, very, very light.
Yeah.
So nobody can notice it, but in emergency, I can
Maybe.
just press.
I mean, your Apple Watch, I don't have it on tonight, but your Apple Watch might be a device, but the device you're talking about, I don't know that that's possible.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, but what I'm thinking, what I'm talking is, can we just let the device call the police number here and instead of 911?
I don't know, because I don't know what the technology is. Do you have it?
I mean, if there is a device can do that, I mean, are you, I mean, are you willing to?
If you have the device, and now you can get a hold of us, and then we can take a look at it and see if we can connect.
Okay.
The way that you want to be alerted is through 911, right? And that's the way, but 911 is the way.
Yes.
So we cannot call Atherton police officer directly? Because 911 sometimes they direct to.
No, that's 911 is the call, and if you're on the cell phone, it might go to the highway patrol, it might go to Menlo Park, but as soon as they ask where you are, they hit one button and it goes right to our dispatch.
Okay.
So I wouldn't be concerned about that.
Yeah, and recently, I believe it was last year, we implemented where if anyone calls 911, it's GPS tracked. So if someone calls 911 from their cell phone, if they're out walking, it gives our dispatch center an alert and it tells them exactly where that 911 call came from. And it'll give us a little bit of information of who's calling as well. And so we do have that technology where if you call from a cell phone, it will go to wherever you are. So if you're in Menlo Park and call 911, it will go to the Menlo Park dispatch. If you're within Atherton and you call 911, it will come to the Atherton police. So if you're within Atherton boundaries and you call 911 on your cell phone, it should come to our police department.
So really your cell phone or the smartwatch, to me, that's the best and the easiest technology because everybody has it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Any other questions? Here we go.
It's me again, not a
Yeah.
question, a point of information. I believe the detective mentioned that a lot of points of entry are second floors and windows or glass doors. And we have a glass break detector. It actually picks up the frequencies unique to glass breaking, and it'll set off the alarm if a window goes.
Yeah,
That's
that's
all.
an option from alarm companies. Yes, sir.
Hi, guys. I'm Robert. I live in Lindenwood for 23 years. Love the work you guys do. And thank you for doing this. This is really great tonight. I think there were some really good questions. One I had was on the break-ins that we started the meeting with. And with those break-ins, you mentioned that the criminals typically don't want to break into a place where no one's home. But could you tell me, like over the last several years, what percentage of the break-ins roughly had people at home versus homes that were empty?
Boy, I only remember one or two where somebody was home. They're pretty good. Like I said, they're pretty good at scouting and scoping because they're rolling the dice.
Mm-hmm.
The few, when we're lucky that people have been home, the yell or the movement, they're gone. And like I said, also.
They're more risk.
Yeah, you know, there's questions about prosecution and everything else. We're fortunate in this county. Steve Wagstaff is one of the best district attorneys I've ever worked with. And he does hold people accountable. He's not into this woke stuff and making it easy. We're lucky and fortunate to have him. And that's another deterrent for prosecution. But yeah, fortunately, most people, they're not home. That's what they want.
Okay.
And a couple of those that were mentioned that were home, we were fairly certain that the criminals didn't actually know they were home. They were on a completely opposite end of the house, opposite floor, and it was one of those second floor balconies with a French door, break into the glass, crawl through the glass. They never actually exited the master bedroom. They went back out onto the balcony, down the rain gutter, and away, opposite direction of where a portion of the family was downstairs. The family never heard anything, and we don't believe the criminals actually knew they were even there.
Yeah. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
You didn't mess around, so in San Francisco, the one person who was to a problem is. But if you had a race them, and you didn't release, you get questions, perhaps she fell very, very bad guy. This one, you know, it was a very bad guy. And when San Francisco let go, so these guys are just trolling now, right? And there's two more of it, it's in our neighborhood. What's happening with whatever's attorney is really you, it's not them, because there's more of it. But she rises up to the full extent of the law. He was pulled and prosecuted, where in San Francisco, every time he saying he goes for the reason. 3 days ago, he was being part of the crime and raised up. So 3 days, and he was rolling. So think about the outcome of the day and catching.
Yeah, thanks for that.
Okay. But it is more crime. You kept things more controlled. Over the last few years, there's more of it.
Well, the problem is, and not to get political or anything, but once things do get out of control, like maybe summer, it's extremely hard to get it back. And that's why I say that even though we have one of the lowest crime rates, you know, we're not just sitting waiting for a call. I mean, we want to maintain that. And we're out there working, we're doing meetings like tonight, any outreach possible, technology. I mean, we're pulling out all the stops, and we're lucky because I wasn't just playing up to the council members. They are very progressive and very supportive. Our residents are rich. The town necessarily isn't, but we have a robust budget. And we also have very, very generous residents who have donated a lot of money for a lot of equipment that we have, and we're fortunate to have that. Yeah. Yes, sir. You got a question back there?
So I'm Bill over on Placitas. I just wondered, so there are a lot of big yards, dark. So far, it seems not to be a problem from what you say that, you know, it's all about burglaries in the buildings, but it's a lot of dark space where people can just go. Is this a problem? Have you seen this till now? Do you think it will be a problem in the future?
I don't know if it's necessarily a problem, but you make a good point, because Atherton, with what it is and unique in so many ways, no sidewalks, really no street lights. And so it is, especially like you get in Lindenwood at night, it is very dark, and it is easy for them to move around. That's where the drone comes in. When I first got here, I couldn't figure, I said, why do we have 2 canines? And I know now, because we have the large properties. And so when we do have burglaries and officer safety, it's much easier to send in the dog as a tool or into the home and to detect. And we've had great success with our dogs over the years as well. So again, an agency our size, we have a lot of things to throw at issues and problems.
After that accident, Atherton Avenue, and the gals ran across
Yes.
the street into a neighbors saw them hiding and called them in and got down.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm Ann Walker from Lindenwood. And I recall sometime in the last year-ish, there was a robbery of a woman who was walking in Holbrook Lane, and somebody came up and ripped her necklace off. And I mean, my first reaction was, well, why were you wearing such an expensive necklace when you're walking around the block? But seriously, I mean, has there been more of that, or is that really
Thank you
a
for
one-off?
bringing that up. So I think it's happened 2 or 3 times. They're a group, husband, wife, or whatever. The one instance that I know of in Lindenwood is they approached the lady that was walking like they knew her, hugged her, anything else, and somehow took the jewelry up and even swapped a ring or something.
Yeah.
And then there was one in Woyden Park where it was more forceful. where they just took it and grabbed it. So you're right. One thing that we say, you shouldn't have to worry about that, but if you've got some $50,000 pendant or something, or the Rolex or something, then I wouldn't be advertising. Secondly, it's just a thing, because I was asked, fighting and getting them off. It's just a thing. It's not worth getting hurt or killed over. I mean, let it go. But it's just something to be cognizant of. And then also to walk with a partner is another deterrent, because these people, they've been elderly and they've been by themselves.
And completely unrelated, but I just want you to know how supportive I am of you, Chief, and of your whole force. And I think the whole incident at MA with the student at the bus stop was extremely unfortunate, but I am 100% behind you guys. And I hope that you can fight that off.
I appreciate that. And we did get a lot of, yeah, it couldn't have been a worse scenario. And it is illustrative of what happens at MA. MA is an outstanding school. It's 2,700 kids. I grew up in a town of 1,200 people, full-time police department, fire department, all that stuff. So you're dealing with 2,700 kids in the teen years, hormones are raging, everything else. And there's a lot of dynamics going on. We have a great relationship with the MA staff and the superintendent. The commander used to be an SRO. We have an SRO program for decades. This last year, I was successful in working with the superintendent. They're paying half of the officer's salary to keep him on the campus full-time during the week. It's still just one person against 2,700. So there are a lot of dynamics happening at the school, but it is a good school. But when we have to take action, we will. And, whether it's this poor kid and then there's more to the story, but we had to do what we needed to do. And he's been charged with hate crimes and resisting arrest and et cetera. So, and also too, with the SRO, as you can imagine, it's sometimes during all the George Floyd and everything else, a lot of schools got rid of their programs, which is unfortunate. Ours is very supportive, but you need to know and understand the last thing that we want to do, or an SRO does, is to arrest and put them into the system, because then we've lost. With an SRO, the opportunity is there to intercede, get the help they need. And our SRO, this one we have right now is outstanding. His name is Dimitri Andruha. He was a high school math teacher and wrestling coach for about 14 years. So he fits in perfect there. He's actually been helping with the wrestling team, and he knows, he sees, the normal kids don't need help, but he sees the kids that need help. And these are kids that have no support at home. So he develops those relationships and get the resources, again, to keep them out of the system. But again, when push comes to shove, a kid's gonna have to be arrested.
I'm curious about the thing when this woman lost jewelry, someone helped her, she know who they were.
No, so yeah, like, oh, hello, and next thing you know, it's like a pickpocket. Yeah, there was one or two of those, and then the other were basically just grab and go. Yeah.
Yeah, and there are things you could do to mitigate some of that stuff. And I always see, when you're driving around town, what do you see when people are walking? They're staring down at their cell phones. They've got their cell phone down, they're looking down like this, and they have or they have their earphones going. Yeah, and you have no awareness of what's around you. This is a absolutely beautiful town. We've got the fall foliage coming out right now. So if you're out walking around, make sure take it all in, look at the beautiful town, the trees, and don't be so looking down at the cell phone, because a lot of times those are the people that they're looking for, because they know I can follow this person. This person doesn't know that I'm watching them. So if you're able to just keep your head up, just enjoy the beautiful look of the town, that will really help in terms of preventing yourself from becoming a victim. And if someone comes up to you and you don't know who they are, create that barrier. Put your hand, hey, I don't know who you are. What do you need? Oh, I don't remember you. Or, one of my favorite, if someone's trying to get too close to me, oh, I got COVID. I'm sorry, you might want to keep 5 feet away. And, think of doing those things, but create that distance so they can't get near you and take a piece of your jewelry or take a watch. Make sure you have that distance, that distance equals time. So if they continue to try to approach you, just keep backing up and saying, hey, no, I'm sick, I got COVID, stay away.
So we covered a lot of stuff. And I always like to say, like, one comment I'll make about like 911, the lady mentioned it. sometimes people are hesitant to call 911. They feel like, is this really the thing? Or are they gonna make fun of it and be mean to me? I can tell, I've run into some dispatchers that weren't very nice. Ours are not that way. But I always tell people, we're paid very well to be bothered. That's our business. So call us. And if it's not an emergency, you're gonna be put off to a non-emergency thing. So that's the best way to get a hold of us, is bother us, ask us. We have a lot of resources. My expectations to our team, and they know that if it's legal, we're gonna do it. For you, it might not be a police thing. I can tell you one, and also no call too small. We make fun of that. His office is right across from mine, and I'll hear it on the radio. I go, I think that's one's too small. He goes, no, we're going. Lady calls in, heading to the airport. She goes, I think I left my stove on. Could you go check? Any other agency? No, of course we will, because she'd given us her keys. I forgot to mention, we have, I don't know how many keys to residence we have and gate codes, because if we can't get in, we can't help you, right? So we had our gate code and we had our key. We went in, sure enough, the oven was on, turned it off and went back. So no call too small. You know, if it is legal, we're going to do it for you, and we're going to find the right resource and solve your issue. So I like to say, you know, we're small, but we're very scrappy. We're highly trained. We're highly educated. We're very diverse. We're very responsive. We have some of the quickest response times. And like I said, we have high expectations of ourselves to serve your needs, because again, yeah, I can't be more proud of the team that we have and our residents. Just outstanding. So thank you for tonight. We're going to have an open house in the spring. We'll put that out so we can do some of the live demos of the fun stuff. You'll watch them. I don't know if you'll let you tase me. I've been tased before. I don't know if we'll do that again, but we'll do the other fun stuff. But you know, enjoy your holiday season. Know that you're safe in this community. The commander made a great, just be aware, but don't be afraid. Don't be a victim. Call us if you need us. Thanks for coming out.
Thank you.
Yeah.